Okay, what we see here is a single die. I'll sometimes slip and call this a domino because I do a lot of things with dominoes as well as with dice. Now, die is the singular of dice. It's not a single dice. There's no such thing as a single dice. It's a die. And that's the way I'm going to say it. Okay. Now, the top of this die is square. Now, I want to, and the die covers a square region of this mirror down here. So now I want to use one or more additional dice to create a square, to cover a square that has twice the dimensions, twice the linear dimensions, twice the edge, twice the edges, if you wish, of the first square. So how am I going to do that? Well, it's very obvious. I can put another die here. Just a 1 in 6 coincidence that came up with a 5 because I didn't look. Okay, now, have I covered a square area? No. Now, what you see with the reflection there kind of looks like a square, but of course we're just talking about covering a square area of this mirror. So, I'm going to do another one, and what in the world? It's very interesting. I checked to make sure that this die didn't have a 5 on it because you'd think there's something funny. There's a 3. There's a 3 right there also. So I didn't buy these to cheat people in dice games. I bought them to illustrate geometric properties. In any case, it should be clear that I'm going to need 2 more dice in order to form a square. I can't form a square with any side between 1 dice edge and 2 dice edges using dice of a single size. Okay, so that's very good. Now, I want to go ahead and create, and incidentally, you see here, if you look at it, and I just kind of saw this in the camera, this set of 4 dice and its reflection give you something that looks like a cube, doesn't it? A 2 by 2 by 2 cube. So that can be a hint for one of the next things we're going to do. In any case, now I want to add more dice in order to make this a bigger square. Now the next bigger square I can make with dice has 3 dice on the side. So I'm going to add 1 here, and 1 here, and 1 here, and 1 here. Getting a lot of 6s, and again, I'm not trying to do that. And another one here. And now I have a set of dice to cover a 3 by 3 area of the surface of this mirror. Now, what you see here looks like a stack of 2 layers of 3 dice in each layer. In other words, between the actual dice and the reflection, that's kind of what it looks like we have. It looks like we have a stack 2 dice high. So you want to kind of keep that in mind. In any case, we're going to move on. Okay, now I want to come back here, and I think I want to eliminate the illusion of the reflection so that we can clearly see what's going on here. Okay, so now we don't see the reflection, we just see a 2 by 2 stack of dice. And I'm going to try to move that a little closer to the other mirror so you can at least get an image behind there to make sure I'm not doing anything sneaky. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to create an actual 2 by 2 by 2 cube. In other words, I want a cube. This is a cube. 1 die is a cube. Not sure you can see that. When 1 die is a cube, has the same dimensions along every edge. And every face of a cube is a square. So, we want to make a cube that has a dimension, an edge dimension, equal to double the dimension of a single die. And how are we going to do that? Well, we already saw what that looks like. I can add another die here. I don't have a cube yet, but now if I add 3 more, I will have a cube. All the edges have the same length. They all make right angles with one another. At least where 2 edges meet, they make a right angle. And the face, every face of this figure, and we can move it back here, kind of rotate it and see what it looks like. Every face is, I'm not sure I didn't have my hands in the way there, but we get the idea. Every face is a square. I should have chosen something a little more rigid. Matter of fact, I'm going to do just that. I've got a nice white tile here. It's going to make everything a little easier to move. Okay. So again, I can squeeze these back together. Well, I could if my hand was steady right now. Okay. So there they are. And if I rotate the system, we can clearly see what we have. Now, that's a cube. Every face is a square. All the faces meet at right angles. All the edges meet at right angles. At least where they meet at right angles. And now I want to complete, now I want to make a 3 by 3 cube. So how many more dice am I going to need to make a 3 by 3 by 3 cube? Well, we can start. We got to have 3 on every side. So I can do that. And as well, I'm going to go ahead and do use what I have. Okay. Well, now I've got a 3 by 3 base. And again, you can see if I rotate it, I've got a 3 by 3 base for a cube, but I don't yet have a cube because I don't have square faces. So I'm going to have to put more dice down here. I have to put 3 here and work in a couple more here. And now I'm getting closer, but do I have a cube at this point? That face isn't square. It's 3 this way and 2 this way. So how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to go ahead and add another layer. So there we go. And here we are. And I had a pretty good stack of dice. It looks like I've put quite a few dice into this stack. Can you figure out how many I've got here? Or how many I'm going to have when I complete this cube? And so many that even though almost all my dice were red, I'm going to have to use green dice to complete this. And I hope that doesn't upset anyone. They're all 1. They all have a 1 on top. And I got a bunch of 1s there. You know, probability is doing terrible things to me today. None of that was intentional. That's just the way they came up. Unusual things happen. Things don't go the way you necessarily expect they will. So there I have a 3 by 3 by 3 cube.